up, everybody? We're back, and believe it or not, we're coming sideways, so we're not going to talk about a lot to start the show. We're just going to dive right in and have some fun with Chad. We're living the van life, and let you guys meet him up close and personal a little bit, get to learn a little bit about him, and then when the interview's over, we're going to slide right on out of here a little early because I go get paid, or me and Tammy go get paid for our house today. So let's get started. What about it, Chad? How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm out here in Moab, Utah. Been out here doing some adventuring in the backcountry and just loving it up out here.
Man, sounds like fun. I was this morning while I was drinking coffee and eating my Pop-Tart, amongst moving boxes and watching Tammy sweep the floor. Y'all noticed I didn't say I swept the floor. But anyway, I was watching your video where you were camping. I think it's your video when you come on the intro where you were camping. It snowed like 10 inches overnight. And you were cooking pizza on an iron skillet. And I'm like, man, I'd love to have that pizza right now.
Yep.
Yes. So I know a little bit about your channel, but some of the people in the chat may not know who you are. And we got several van lifers in our chat. So if you don't hear, tell us who you are and a little bit about what your channel's about and how it got started.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Chad with Living the Van Life, and gosh, I've been doing photography and filmmaking several years prior to, as a hobby, and fell in love with it and discovered a passion for filmmaking and photography. And I had been working construction for 18 years and finally had enough of not doing what I love to do for a living and decided to make my passion into a career. So I quit the full-time job and started living in my van so that I could afford to start over a career from scratch. And one of the ways that I figured out how to do that was I went to YouTube and did a quick YouTube search of living in a van. And at that time, there was, I think, 3 videos that existed on YouTube. And this was in 2011.
So much has changed.
Yeah, that's all there was available for any videos talking about living in a van. And but because of those 3 videos, I decided, you know what, heck, I can do this, and jumped into it and started living in a van. And right off the bat, I learned so much about living in a van, but even more beyond that is I learned so much about life and the fact that you don't need all this stuff to survive as a human. You can actually get by with, quite a minimal amount. And so because of everything that van life had taught me, even just in the few months, I decided to start my own channel and kind of give back to that community that had got me into it. So
now you're a rock star in the YouTube world.
What's that?
I said, now you're a rock star in the YouTube world.
Well,
a legend in the van life community.
It's been a wild ride, that's for sure.
So is YouTube now your full-time job, career?
It is, yeah. I mean, I still do, as an independent filmmaker and photographer, you're always, doing a little bit of side projects here and there and every which way. So you kind of do what you can to figure out how to make a living. But YouTube has stepped up to the plate, as far as my subscribers and all that stuff. And I started putting more time into it. And YouTube's one of those things you get out of it, what you put into it. So the more effort you put into creating good content, you get more out. Mm-hmm. And so that's really what I did the last year, was just really focus on stepping up my content game. And it's paid off to the point where I can do it full time. So
I noticed in the last few weeks, I guess the bigger your numbers get, and I guess more, I don't really know how all that works, the more these companies approach about different things. But I've been getting a lot of stuff sent to me in email about websites wanting to sell our pictures and stuff. I guess you get that a lot with your videos and stuff.
Yeah, it seems like there's a certain threshold once you surpass that with that amount of subscribers, and you start getting bombarded with emails from people who are developing products, or I should say companies that are developing products, and they want to give you the products, so you do a video review, and then you start, you just get a whole plethora of emails, and it happens on a daily basis, and it's it's quite entertaining to look through all the different scenarios and, opportunities and stuff like that. But yeah, you definitely get a lot of those emails for sure.
I like. I was watching a video you had, and you were just laying in the snow,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the van was sitting not far from you, and you were talking about how ironic it was you had the heated van, but the most gifted moment was where you were laying in the in the snow, and
Yeah.
just enjoying nature.
Yeah.
And that's just amazing.
Yeah, that's kind of the cool opportunities of doing this. With my channel, well, with a van life channel, you got so many different options that you can go. And what kind of content you're going to create, and I've kind of chosen the route of really getting my van out into nature and creating that kind of content. And so what that does is that puts you in some pretty amazing spots. And so kind of at the end of the day, when all the hard work is done as far as the hard filming, and maybe it's cooking, filming all the cooking and stuff is a lot of work, but I always try and take that moment at the end of the day and go out and just kind of sit and breathe a little bit. And those are those moments where you can just kind of get out underneath the stars and sit back and just kind of take it all in. And so that's one thing that van life has provided me, is the opportunities to get out into some pretty amazing territory and do that stuff.
I noticed I always want to reach through the screen and grab somebody and ask questions when I'm watching videos, but I noticed you answer a lot of those questions as you go. In other words, you're in the back of your mind, you're always thinking. You were talking about when you were cooking in your solo stove. I was watching how hot that was, and I just wanted to reach through there and ask you, does that not melt your awning? And that was the next thing that came out of your mouth, that to melt your awning. I mean,
Yep.
that looked like a big fire to not get that hot. Because I know you can't. You have to go way up to be able to hold your hand above a fire.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing with the solo stove, being that little round unit, that and the way it's all vented, it just really gets those coals going super hot. So, and it just kind of shoots it right all out the top. But yeah, the first time I went out and used it, I kept a close eye on it, and a lot of those times it's well below freezing. I don't think I'd want to attempt that on a 100-degree day or something like that.
I wondered the same thing.
Yeah.
I wondered if it was just so cold outside when that heat got up so far it just dissipated.
Yeah. Well, and I'd kind of hope that maybe that heat would work for me in the fact, because a lot of times I'm out there in the snow or out there in the hills and it's actually snowing. And I was hoping that the actual heat from the fire would help melt the snow on the awning, but it actually still piles up on the awning. And so, it's not even enough really to melt the snow up on top. Sometimes when it's snowing really hard, I got to be clearing that awning off every half hour or so.
Yeah. So, and you may answer this in some old videos, I don't know, but we had a question. Why did you pick the Volkswagen? And I don't even know how to pronounce what that is. Is it
Yeah, the Volkswagen Westfalia, yeah.
Why was it that you picked that van?
Well, so the Westfalia is the Volkswagen for a number of years built the Vanigan, and so a lot of people ask, they're like, well, what kind of vehicle it is. So it's a Volkswagen Vanigan. It's the chassis that they've built this thing on, and then Westfalia is kind of a third-party company that comes in and builds like a conversion van, and so the Westfalia is the camper version of the Vanigan. And I had, of course, they're kind of an iconic van. You see them all over the place. And let's see, back in 2009, we were out on a photography road trip, and we were out on the coast of Washington, and there was a Volkswagen Westfalia parked in the parking lot of the campground. And so they were out camping, and we kept walking back and forth past his van, and it was just like, man, they had it all opened up so you could kind of see inside, and it was like, that is so freaking cool. You've got everything you need right there in some small little van that you would need for a road trip. And at that time, because of what photography was doing, it was taking off. We were getting in, and when I say we, I'm talking about me and some of my best friends that we were all learning photography together on. And I kept seeing this van parked out there, and I was just like, that's so cool. That'd be the perfect road trip machine to go out and shoot photography, because a lot of times you're out there late at night to shoot sunset or stars, or you're out there early in the morning to shoot the sunrise. So this vehicle would be perfect. You could just, set yourself out there where you want to shoot photos and sleep for the night. And so I kept my eye out. It took me about a year to get my hands on one, and got a hold of one. And it's cool because, and at that point, I hadn't even had any idea of actually living in it at all. It was just a road trip machine.
Yeah.
But just the fact that it's all built out with all the cabinets inside, it's got the pop top. And I didn't even realize until I got it and actually started using it how versatile it was, all its off-road capabilities and where you can actually get that thing. So it's been a wild ride figuring that thing out. That's true.
People that own Volkswagens, older Volkswagens, kind of know that you have to carry a lot of extra parts and toolboxes and things. So, I was kind of thinking, I love Volkswagens, I think I told you in email, we're Volkswagen fans, but, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, why would he want to take a Volkswagen up into the mountains and maybe not get to come back down?
Well, and that's the thing. So many people ask, they ask, what does it take to get into a van, or is this a good van for me? And I always tell people, I said, they're awesome vans, but you have to be mechanically inclined.
Yes.
To own one. Because if every little thing that goes wrong, if you have to take it to a shop to get it repaired, then you're going to go broke and you're going to be hating the thing. But if you're capable of working on a vehicle, then it becomes an adventure and a challenge, and that's certainly it. If I wasn't able to do all my own work on that thing, I would have been out of it a long time ago.
My dad used to leave here in North Alabama and go up into Chattanooga, Tennessee, and work.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of guys in this area that done that. Well, one of these guys, he swore by Volkswagen. Like that's all he had. Like he had tons of Volkswagen Bugs.
yeah.
Well, everybody knew that the Volkswagen Bug, the heater didn't work good, right? So it's the dead of winter here in North Alabama, which to us, it might have been 28 degrees, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Not too cold. Anyway, so it was Don's turn to drive. So he piled everybody up in the Volkswagen Bug, all manual windows. He had all the windows down. They're trucking north. They're all freezing to death. And they go to roll the windows up. He said, no. Wait a minute. Don't roll the windows up. Trust me. Don't roll the windows up. So they're trucking out. Everybody's freezing to death. They said, does the heater not work in this thing? Can we not roll the windows up? He said, give me a minute. About 15 more minutes. He said, all right, roll the windows up. I'll roll the windows up. He said, y'all feel that heat? The heater didn't work too good, but with the windows down and then roll the windows up, it worked great.
Oh, yeah. Because you appreciated that little bit of heat right there.
Yeah.
That's freaking hilarious.
So,
that's the thing is, like, I don't drive that van anywhere. I pull up in a gas station or out in a grocery parking lot or something like that, and there's always somebody that comes up and has a story of something in their past about a Volkswagen, whether it was a friend or an old Volkswagen. Yeah. There's just stories about them nonstop.
So I think everyone has either owned one or knows someone who owned one. They've all ridden in one at some point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me included. I've never owned one of all the vehicles I've owned, but I grew up in one.
Yeah.
And around here, they used to take the Volkswagens and build what they call rail buggies, and they build them. And similar to the dune buggies out in California, but we street ride these things.
That's what we did.
Yeah. So, would you being in a Volkswagen, that makes you, as far as marketable, that makes you more marketable, right? Because there's a big following of Volkswagen people, right?
Yeah. No, there's definitely a huge following of Volkswagen people, and the van definitely becomes a character in the whole thing, more than I think I realize most of the time. Just being one of those, it's such a unique type of vehicle, and even just driving down the street, people are always like turning their heads and looking and stuff.
Yeah.
So people really, I think, enjoy watching the van on the channel, and it's the bigger character in the whole scene anyway. So
yeah.
Well, I won't lie. That's why we started watching you.
Oh yeah.
Was
it was
right?
because of the van. Yeah. I mean, we saw the van. And it's like, oh wow, so we started watching, and of course, then it stuck. But that,
Yep.
your van brought us in. So
Yeah.
So you need to one day get that. You know how the big networks, when they have these big winter TV shows, they have these big elaborate thumbnails that catch your attention.
Yep.
You need to wrap the Volkswagen when you're
Yeah.
just in a picture of where you're out in the middle of nowhere and there's like 10 feet of snow
Yep.
and you got that solo stove going. You need to wrap the van with that picture.
I know, right? Yep.
That'd be awesome.
That
So
would be good.
Texas Family Camping said that he knows that you've been hanging out with his hero, which is Jason at Primal Outdoors.
Okay. Yep.
He's asking what was that like? Is he just as cool off camera?
Oh yeah, definitely. Jason's an awesome dude. And I had come across his channel. Oh gosh, what's it been now? Probably close to 2 years ago now. Came across his channel and found a lot of inspiration in what he was doing of going out in the woods and doing this camping. And that's really what inspired me to start doing more of that on my channel, is because of what he was doing. And so we chatted back and forth on Instagram here and there, and then I had the opportunity to meet up with him down in Oregon and do some camping with him. And yeah, we've gotten to be really good friends through that experience, and we keep in regular touch, and it's fun to get together with other YouTubers. I mean, we're out doing our thing, and there's not really ever a lot of interaction between different YouTubers. So that opportunity to sit down with Jason and around the campfire and just talk shop of what it takes to be a YouTube content creator, it was a lot of fun doing that. But yeah, Jason he's an awesome dude, and enjoy chatting with him and look forward to meeting up with him more and doing more stuff together. So
Have you been, of course, you have so many people that follow you, and I know it's hard to keep up with just everybody, but have you noticed a group maybe of people that maybe switched to van life because of following your channel?
yeah, I do get quite a bit of messages through email or Instagram or even in the comments. I get a lot of comments about people referring to that hey, I've got my van a year ago because of watching your channel, or hey, I'm going to start van life next week because of watching your channel, and they're reaching out to pass that I guess the thanks for the inspiration on it and stuff like that. So it is cool hearing that. And like I said, I'm always off kind of just doing my thing, and you don't really realize what impact it's having on people's lives. But then when you get to come back to the comments and the messages, it's cool to hear that people are reaching out and doing stuff with their lives because of it. That's definitely cool to see.
Yeah. Do you let me go back and say this again. Have you ever been in a situation that you got nervous? In other words, you've gotten somewhere and something bad happened, and even you, with all your experience, gotten nervous and think, "Uh-oh, I might have went over the line here."
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I get that question quite a bit. Oh, do you ever have anything scary happen or anything crazy happen? And, for the most part, I've had, knock on wood, I've had smooth sailing with all my urban stealth camping adventures and stuff like that. And even getting out into the wilderness and the snow. And, I always try to push my limits. I try to push the limits of my vehicle and explore those limits and what can I do and what can my equipment do. Just 2 days ago, I'm out here in Moab, and Moab's been a dream of mine to come and just spend a certain amount of time and explore the area, because this is the ultimate backcountry zone out here. There's just dirt roads everywhere. And so for the kind of things that I've gotten into and love to do, this is Mecca. And so there's a trail out here called the White Rim Trail. And I've been hearing about this trail the whole time I'm here. And I keep researching it, and it's high clearance 4x4 required to go do this. And they rate it like a 5 out of 10 for difficulty. But so I'm like, man, I want to go do this. And I'm watching videos. My go-to is YouTube. What are other people doing on the White Rim Trail, so I can get a visual and see. And everything I see, all the research shit, it's like, oh yeah, this is doable. So anyways, I get out there, and it's a 100-mile trek out through this remote backcountry, the Canyonlands National Park. And I saw I had to do it over 2 days. I saw one vehicle in the 2 days that I was out there. And so I'm like trucking along for 45 miles and all is good. I'm like, man, the van's handling all this great. But I get to this one hill and it's called Murphy Hogback Hill. And the sun's just going down. It's dark. I'm relying on my headlights and my big LED light bar, which that just lights up everything like daylight. But I come to this hill and I'm just like pulling my hair out. I'm like, there's no way this van is going to make it up. You could see where four-wheel drives were struggling and kicking up all the boulders. And when I got into the middle of that hill, trying to get up to my camp spot, which was up at the top, that was the moment where I realized, holy crap, I think I've pushed beyond the limits of myself and my equipment. And I scared myself on that one. I thought I was going to be spending the night on the side of that hill.
Oh no!
Barely wide enough for the van.
Wow.
But I tell you what, when I thought I wasn't going to be able to make it through, that damn Vanigan just pulled me through and got us to the top of that thing. But I had to get out and take a few deep breaths after that one.
And that is why he drives the Volkswagen.
Yeah.
That thing will go anywhere.
Blew my mind. I was just like, I'm in the middle of this and I can't back down. I'm like, I got through one obstacle and I got to another obstacle. I'm looking at this thing in front of me and I'm like, there's no way. And I tried to back down and my rear tires backed into a hole and I'm teetering on two wheels like this, like my front tires like up in the air.
Well,
And
see,
so I
that would
really
be
don't have no choice but to go up.
that would be my deal.
man.
That would be my deal is that I got to go back down that hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and thank God I knew it was a loop. And so I just kept focused on like, okay, I gotta get through to the other side. And I think it was more of a sense of accomplishment for me. It's like I wanted to say I did the 4x4 white rim trail in my 2-wheel drive Vanigan.
I hope you recorded that, by the way.
Oh yeah, it'll be all in an episode coming up here pretty soon.
That's crazy. I'm nervous hearing you tell about it.
Yeah. So then I get to the top and I'm like, oh, I hope that is the worst of what's yet to come, because I spent the night at the top of that hill and then I had another 45 miles beyond that to get out of this whole canyon. And I was just praying that was the worst of it. And I couldn't hardly sleep because I was worried about getting myself in there and maybe possibly not being able to get out of there. So, and the next day I had several hills that I went down. I'm like, I'm going down this hill, which is one thing. There's no way I'm going to make it back up out of this hill. So if I come across something later in the trail that I can't get through, I'm going to have to come back and I'm going to be stuck. But like I said, that Vanigan pulled me through and got me to the other side. So,
wow. So it's just a straight 2-wheel drive. You don't have no locking rear end or anything, right?
No, I don't have an actual locker. I do have a limited slip differential that the last time I had my transmission rebuilt, I had them throw in the limited slip differential. So that definitely helps out there. And I could feel that thing kicking in where one tire wanted to break loose. That other one was just
At about that time, you're like, been nice to have a locking rear end.
yeah. They do make the same vehicle in 4-wheel drive. They're about twice the cost.
Oh yeah,
they're pretty capable, the synchros. But
can you put a locker in it?
I don't think so.
This would be a great spot for a sponsor for living the van life, right here.
Yeah. Everybody out there that's got a locker for a van, let's talk.
That and the Winch company.
Yes.
Yeah.
A winch would be nice. That's for
a
sure.
winch will get you a lot of places in a 2-wheel drive.
Oh yeah.
If you have something to tie the winch to.
Yep.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, I've had my eye on a 4x4 Sprinter van for a long time, and I go back and forth. I know we touched base earlier on the fact that the van is such a character in my videos, and that's the biggest debate for me, is the fact of trading that one out for a 4x4 Sprinter if I wouldn't just get so much kickback. But the thing is 4x4 would definitely help with the kind of stuff that I do, but then I could actually stand up in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I could probably stand up in your house, but you're
Yeah.
taller than me.
Yeah, Gary's tiny. He's like 15.
But I do see your point, and I always tell everybody here, and you're going to hear it again. You do you. Embrace what you're known for.
Yeah.
Don't run from what you're known for, because that's how people remember you. That's what makes them smile, makes them want to come to your show or your videos. And
Well, you could always just keep both, and then every once in a while drag out the VW for a video. That way everybody's like, oh, he still has it.
Yep.
Or put a pop top in it.
What's that?
Does yours have a pop top?
Yeah.
It does have a pop top, which is nice, because when I get out into the wilderness or something like that, or out in a camp spot, I can pop the top and enjoy that. And that it is awesome having that pop top. And when that thing's popped, I mean, I'm 6'1", 6'2", and I can stand and put my hand straight up and barely touch the top when that thing popped. So that's nice. But the thing is the only time that I can pop that is really if I'm, out in the wilderness somewhere. And I do a lot of urban stuff because I'm, doing stuff around town and editing and stuff like that. So I don't pop the top when I'm in town and doing anything like that. So the majority of the time, the top stays down, and you end up hunkered down on your knees most of the time to do it.
Yeah, that was pretty stink.
Yeah.
But it is hard to go away. I could see you, man, getting a lot of views. I don't know how many of these Volkswagen vans they are out in the market, but I could see you getting a lot of views, hooking up with a company and putting a locker in the rear end, making that a big series, and taking it to another level. I would do that. You're the rock star. I'm not telling you what to do, but I think that would be cool. I'm thinking that would be cool as a viewer. I'm thinking that would be cool as a viewer before you did go to the Sprinter.
Yeah. Well, and that's pretty much what I've done. And that's the thing, is I could never bring myself to actually get rid of the Vanigan. It's what that Vanigan has done for me and my life, and the adventures it's taken me on, and the opportunities that it's provided me. I mean, it's literally like a part of my soul. And so I could never get rid of that thing. I've told myself, even if I do get a Sprinter van, the Vanigan will go into storage. And like you said, I'll pull it out and do a video or an adventure, but I definitely would keep that thing and have it around. But
you always get a VW Sprinter van. That way at least you're staying with the VW thing.
Yep. Yep. Well, and that's because of what I've done with my channel and kind of building the whole adventure aspect into it. That's why I've had my eye on the 4x4 Sprinters. Is they're awesome living spaces because of how much room, but they're building a fairly legit 4-wheel drive. And there's all these companies, like what you were saying, Gary, you can build them all out and stuff like that and put lockers in it and put a lift kit on it. So what I would want to do with the Sprinter is build kind of the ultimate overland van that is actually capable of going out and doing this stuff like I did on the White Rim Trail with some actual capability. So
you better start selling a lot of videos. All I can say.
That would be cool.
I'll get some good sponsors.
Yep.
So knowing as big as your channel, you've probably already been approached. I know a lot of the bigger channels your size or bigger that's already getting approached and getting vehicles and stuff. Did you ever dream that when you started?
No. And I remind myself that almost on a daily basis of like looking back to where this started, how it started, why it started, and where it's at now. It's like I never would have dreamed that it could be what it is. Mm-hmm. But as a filmmaker and a photographer, I think that's kind of the cool thing about YouTube, is the fact that it just gives you the opportunity to make your dreams come true. I always tell people, if we go back even 10 years ago, and if we had an idea for a TV show or a movie, God, we'd have to put together this whole pitch package, and we'd have to go to the executives and figure out how to get a hold of these executives at these TV stations and do this pitch and go through all this rigmarole. And you got a 1 in a million chance of actually making it with that idea. But with YouTube, you pick up your cell phone, you start filming your idea for your show, and you can go live with it in an hour or two, and you've got the potential of making it into a full-time career. And I think that's really the cool thing of what YouTube has opened up for people these days. And I never would have thought they would got me where it has. And so many
Yeah.
people in the same boat.
I love the opportunity that YouTube gives us. Sometimes we fuss and fight over the rules, but
Yeah.
in the general big scheme of things, we get a deal. If we sit down and just like you said, it's 1 in a million chance being on TV, but it's click and post on YouTube. I mean, like, you don't have to ask anybody. You just have to be within their guidelines, which most of their guidelines is common sense stuff, you know?
Yeah. Totally.
So we got a question. How old is couple questions from Linda Barker. How old is the van and how many miles do you have on it?
How old is the van? Is that what the question
Yes,
was?
that was one of the questions.
Yep. So the Vanigan is a 1991 model. That's actually the last year that they made that particular body style. And then it went away and went to next generation in 93. But my particular van has 306,000 miles on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many? How many did you say?
306,000.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And it's, let's see how many engines. I've had the engine in and out of there 4 or 5 times myself. A couple different transmissions. I've completely rebuilt the whole undercarriage of it. But yeah, 306,000 miles on the chassis, but everything else has been updated and rebuilt. So,
Man, so is your van, is it a diesel or gas?
so it's a gas powered. Mine's a gas powered. So I converted. I had the original motor in it until 2012, and then that one took a dump on me on the way back from a road trip, and after that I converted it over to a Subaru motor, and so it's Subaru powered now.
Oh, good deal.
Yeah.
So what is the most watched video you have? How many views did it get?
So the most watched video that I have on my channel right now is the winter storm living in a van. That's the one where I was cooking the pizza over the skillet out in the snowstorm. That one's got the most views. It's got it just clicked over to 10 million views here last week, I think. So,
sorry, my backyard science. I misunderstood the question that they gave me that you had. So, yeah, I messed that up for you. But anyway, that was my backyard science was actually telling me that, and then you told me that. Sorry about that. But 10 million views. Wow,
that's amazing.
That is network level right there.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, when that thing took off, well, and I had realized over the years that winter videos were definitely huge on the channel. Every time I did something that was anything to do with cold weather, snow, winter, anything like that, like it always had higher views. So I started paying attention to that. And each winter I would go out and I'd do a couple videos, and through the whole process of developing this YouTube channel, it's been finding my voice, finding, okay, what am I going to talk about? What do people want to see? And so each winter was an opportunity to develop more and more. And when I kind of started thinking about where I wanted to take the channel last year, and it was a lot of like, well, I want to get more into camping. I want to get more into this bushcraft thing and more into survival type stuff of, cooking a meal over a campfire and stuff like that. So as wintertime was approaching, I'm like, okay, this is kind of the next level of what I'm going to take the channel to. And I'd done previous winter camping videos, and they're like, that's not surviving a winter. You're sitting in a van, and that's not cooking a meal in a blizzard. That you're cooking a meal inside a van. And so I was like, okay, guys, like, is that what you want to see? Like, then let's go to the next level. And that's when that first snowstorm hit, went up into the hills, and I was like, I'm going to build a campfire out in the snow, and I'm going to cook pizza over a campfire. Like, what up now? It's like
awesome pizza, by the way. Awesome pizza. You can hear it crunching as they eat it. I mean, That is my kind of pizza.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was good pizza. So
Mama taught you well. Y'all have to watch the video to know what I mean.
yep, that's right. That is right.
I was thinking hickory wood under that pizza.
Oh, yep.
So
would be-
anyway, y'all have to watch the video to know what we're talking about. But
Yep.
that was a great idea too, by the way. But I was thinking, man, if you'd had some hickory,
Yep.
oh, next level.
Yep, that'd be good too, or some mesquite, something like that.
Oh yeah, yep. Man, now I'm going to go outside and practice, but I don't have time.
Yeah.
So what has been? So how big was you before you? And I don't know all the details, but I'm sure you have sponsors and companies that you collaborate with. How big was you before you got your first major collaboration or sponsorship?
It was, I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to really think back. I mean, a year ago, I had about 80,000 subscribers going back a year ago, maybe between 70 and 80,000. And at that point, like, I didn't feel confident in the fact, I didn't feel like I had anything to be going and holding my hand out to companies and saying, hey, can I have this? Or, hey, will you pay me for this? And so rather than, getting a few thousand subscribers and then going out and like trying to sell myself to these sponsors, I focus more on just building the channel, building this platform so that when I did get sponsors coming at me, I felt confident in what I had to offer. And so it was really, I hit 100,000. I was actually with Jason with Primal Outdoors the day that the channel clicked over to 100,000. And it definitely seemed like after that, that's when everything took off. I mean, it wasn't, but shortly after that, the winter storm video happened and we were off to the races. But it was over 100,000 when you start getting people approaching and sponsors and stuff like that. The first paid ones would have been this summer. There's different brands and companies that'll reach out and offer different deals for mentioning their product or their brand for a few minutes. So that really started coming into play this last summer. So there's probably 350 to 400,000, but I could have had it sooner. I never really pushed it,
Yeah. And for the chat, I know that Chad is like other channels, and even as small as we are, we get requests to talk about stuff all the time that's not anything that you guys would be interested in.
Yeah.
We pass on them.
Yeah.
So, and I know like Chad's not going to put something on his channel for one that he wouldn't use, or
That's
two
right.
that has nothing to do with the channel. So, you probably have to trash so many a day that it's unreal.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is, I get a lot of people, and that's the thing is like my channel has never been anything about product reviews. I think I get stuff, I discover stuff in my travels of learning how to live this kind of lifestyle. And I think like, wow, okay, this is really cool. This helped me out. And then I try to do a video about it. And I don't feel right doing it. It just doesn't fit into what I built my channel around. So I've never been that channel that does product reviews, but I get a ton of people that, they want to send over a $50 product. Here, I'll give you this product and will you review it? And it's like, do you realize the amount of time that goes into creating this content? Like just to create a video, like, it takes more time than what it's even worth for that $50 product. So
Right.
It is a lot of trying to weed that stuff out and get stuff that, okay, I feel like I can relate to this, or I feel like this would be relevant to my channel. I wish I had a product review channel because there'd be a lot of opportunities to get in on that game for sure.
I think though the way you're doing it is more. I think it's better for your channel. In other words, to me, a product means more like the solo stove.
Yeah.
You have a solo stove. It's not an advertisement. You got an awesome solo stove.
Yeah.
You can cook pizza in an iron skillet over a solo stove.
Yeah.
That sells itself. You don't have to say, hey, click the link below to get the solo stove at 20% off. You don't have to say that. I'm going to want to go look for it.
Yep. Yeah. And that's ultimately the kind of brand integrations that I want to do. I've taken on some of these other brand sponsorships over the last few months, like I said, since the summer. And that's really trying to build myself up to getting into the Sprinter van. And so I'm kind of, working through some of that, but ultimately what I want to do is build those relationships with brands like Solo Stove that like, hey, I don't have to, just like you said, I don't have to be like, hey guys, go check out this. It's like, it just naturally fits into the content and people want to see. And so ultimately that's where I want to go with things.
I seen bigger channels cooking on a Blackstone Grill. And now if you see me out camping somewhere, I'm cooking on a Blackstone Grill. I didn't have to be sold that.
Kind of losing you there a little bit.
Yeah, it got quiet for a second. Is everybody good? Are we all good?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
I might be having some technical difficulties on my end.
Maybe
here.
on his end.
Yeah, we got you on our end. So let me see if I can catch up with. So Linda Barker's got a great question.
We can refresh this here.
Let's let him get internet. You're good on our end.
Yeah, I see him and hear him fine.
Uh-oh.
We still have you if you can hear us.
Yeah, everything's froze on my side here.
No, you're good.
So you can leave the studio and come back in if you want. That might help. So we'll let him work through this right quick. See if we can figure out the internet issues. I was actually worried that we might have internet issues here because we got some of the side bands off the hurricane. And so I didn't know what we would lose. I think we lost him all together, didn't we?
Yeah, it kind of froze now.
Do we leave it up and see if it comes back in or take him down?
Oh,
well, he just muted his mic.
Did he mute himself or did you do that?
No, he did that. So,
he's still working on it then.
All right. So,
oh, there he goes.
There he is.
There we are. How about now?
Good deal. We're good. We had you all along. You just didn't have us.
Gotcha.
All right. So this is a great question. I probably need to ask this more often to our full-time people like you. But Linda Barker asked, what do you do on your day off?
Gosh, that's a good question. I don't think there ever really is a day off. And that's honestly like, I mean, being your own boss, like you said, and trying to always come up with new, fresh content. Even when I'm not behind the camera filming something, my mind's always working of like, okay, what's the next idea and stuff like that. But when you love what you do, you never really work a day in your life, So I've kind of worked with that mantra.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But I've gotten back into mountain biking. I used to mountain bike a lot back in the day, so I've gotten into that, and that's kind of one thing to kind of go out and do something different. In fact, actually, here in just a few minutes, there's a new episode dropping on the channel, and it's an episode about mountain biking out here in Moab. So it was kind of fun to integrate some mountain biking into it because that's part of van life. When you're on the road. So, but yeah, that, and I got into fly fishing about a year ago. So that's fun to get out and do stuff like that. But I mean, going out and being a professional camper, you get to go out and go camping and you make a video about it and you get paid to go out and do that stuff. So it's pretty hard to call it work, I guess.
Yeah. Even though it's a ton of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know you got a lot of great sponsors and a lot of great companies you collaborate with, but if you could pick a sponsorship that you would just love to have, who would that be with?
Moving forward to what I want to do on the next level, I've been talking about Sprinter van and stuff. I would love to be able to link up with somebody like Sprinter or Mercedes and do a sponsorship deal with a Mercedes 4x4 van because I think kind of the next level of this is, like I said, building out the ultimate overland capable van, but then going out on some of these bigger expeditions. And is it a trip from Alaska to Baja, Mexico, or is it down into South America, or some of these treks out across the southwestern United States? So I think working with somebody like Mercedes would be a very cool opportunity on something like that, because it's a great way to show the capabilities of a vehicle, on the channel. And
so you've grown from 80,000 in a year to 444,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wrap my mind around that. How did you do that? How do you wrap your mind around that?
Well, honestly, like I don't really let it get to me, and for the most part, I'm just kind of out doing my thing out in the desert or up in the mountains, or out here just keeping my head down and focused on creating content that, I think that's kind of the interesting thing about being a YouTube content creator, is like you're just never, I don't know, you're just kind of off doing your thing. I don't know really how to put words to it, but yeah, I don't know. I just focus more on doing the work and creating the content versus like, oh my God, it's so big. And it's great to see the numbers, but it doesn't really sink in, I guess, to be anything crazy, if that makes sense.
Do you find it's easier now to get a private message to a mega channel versus before they wouldn't even respond?
No, like I guess I'm trying to think of times where I've reached out. I don't know. I think that's the hard part, and I look at it from my end of, I mean, you get messages coming in from so many directions that even myself, it's hard to like pick through any of them. Like, I don't know, who knows how many important messages that I've missed just because they're coming in from so many different areas: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, email, several different emails. So, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I still have the same challenge. If I try to reach out to somebody for them to find the message, it's still a challenge.
So basically what you're saying is I was really lucky that you even saw my email.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
You just happened to look at my email.
Yeah. It's hard. There's like messages coming in. Even on Instagram, there's 3 different levels of things where you can get messages. It's really hard to keep up with. Being a one-man crew, I mean, it's hard enough filming the content, editing the content, much less managing all the emails and the messages and stuff like that.
Yeah. We think you're pretty cool because you come on a little bitty show like ours.
Yeah.
Yep. And you're a nice guy. You're not a jerk. And we can tell from talking to you that you have not let your popularity make you somebody else. You're the same person, that we knew before. And
I mean, I think, to me, it's just, I guess I look at it as the subscriber base is just a number. I mean, it's great. That's how I'm able to, I mean, that I don't want to say like, oh, it's just a number, because that number represents a very large base of people that are behind me, so I definitely appreciate that way, but I definitely don't let that number get to my head, and I just keep my head down and, keep focused on creating better and better content. And, that number just keeps growing. So I put trust in myself that I just keep doing what I do, then that number will just keep growing, and more people will get to come on board and be a part of it. So
see, that attitude just makes us like you more.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some pretty snotty emails back from channels way smaller than you.
Is that right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Some people just are not nice people, but
yeah. Gosh, that sucks.
And she's saying that very nicely.
I'm sure.
That's not what she said.
They get to hear my actual thoughts. I cleaned it up for the chat.
We probably, and Felix should probably back this up, we probably, percentage-wise, get more nice responses from mega channels than we do from small channels.
Is that right?
Small channels that give us I'm sometimes not. I'm
It's-
not talking about all, but every now and then, if we
Yeah,
ever
not
get-
all.
yeah,
But there is a range of subscriber count where I've had, I think, bigger issues than any other, and it always seems to be within the maybe 10, 15, 20,000 to under 100,000.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that something? Because I don't know if it's were they just that way before?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, maybe they didn't change, or is it? Oh well, we're just getting too big. You know, because that's sort of the attitude you kind of get. So
Oh, there we are. Now we're back.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
there we are.
you know, and I think my channel has come from a time where there was 2 or 3 videos about living in a van on YouTube, and that's kind of where I started, and so that's just kind of always been my roots of things. But now YouTube as a whole has gotten so huge that now all these people are jumping on board to be, I'm going to be a content creator, I'm going to be a YouTuber, and now it's the cool thing to do. And I think maybe that's where those people used to YouTube content creators. So
Nope.
That might be where some of those attitudes come from. I don't know, but
yeah, could be. I don't know.
The way I look at
it just kind of blows me away, I guess.
Creating content for subscribers, that huge number doesn't really mean anything about having a bad attitude,
Right.
So, yep.
So what is new, right quick? What is new for your channel? We lost him.
Oh, I'm here. You guys hear
me? He can hear you, so just, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So what is new coming up for your channel? Anything new?
Yeah, well, I've been on the road. Most of the time I'm creating my content based up out of, Northwest Washington. But I've been out on the road for the last month and a half and just really wanting to take advantage of being out here on the road, discovering new places for myself, and being a content creator, you get to bring your whole entire audience with you on journeys like this. So my goal over the next month or so is to keep discovering new places out here on a road trip and bringing people along for that. And some of the content that I've been able to gather out here in Moab has just been astronomical. So I'm looking forward to bringing that to the channel. The journey of the White Rim Trail, that's going to be a pretty special episode, I think. So yeah, that's coming up, and hoping to get down into Monument Valley and do some exploring down there, and I don't know, see where the wind blows me.
Yeah. Well, I know you're having internet issues, and I know we've kept you nearly an hour. And
good. It's been fun hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it, and we are all big fans, and I know the chat will be as well, those that didn't know you.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate you, like I say, coming on our little bitty show and letting us get to know you a little bit better. And
well, thanks for having me. It's been my pleasure, for sure.
Just so you know, when you did reply back, I looked over at my husband and I said, "You are not going to believe who just said they'll be on Gary's show."
By the way, I don't know how you are a one-man show. We're a small show, and I couldn't make it without these other 3 yahoos around us.
Well, I've really just focused on trying to keep it small feeling, at least,
Yeah. So,
and so many other different film productions and stuff. We've worked with bigger crews, and my business partner on the filmmaking side of things, it's always been him and I out producing, bigger content. We've just always figured out ways to do it with the 2 of us, and that's kind of been our discovery, is that the smaller you can keep things, just yeah. So
when you break 500,000 subscribers, we want to have you back on.
All right.
So be looking for Happy Place Camping's email. And
I'll put a VIP mark on it, so it gives me a notification when you guys email.
When you get that Sprinter, we want to be the first one to say, "Hey, you got to watch the video coming up."
Oh, hell yeah! That'd be awesome.
We'll get you out there, and we love having you on here. We love having fun people and interesting, and you are. And so I know you're
Cool. I
busy.
appreciate that.
You have a lot of other commitments, I'm sure. And the chat has loved you. They're loving you out here in the chat.
That's
and
awesome.
I know we're going to tell everybody about the interview, and maybe we'll get a lot more replays on it and gain you a few subscribers along the way. So
I would love to have you guys on board for sure.
So we appreciate it a lot. Anytime you want to come back, promote something, or tell us about it, you got an open door. We'll make room for you.
Cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome. I appreciate it. You guys have been really fun hanging out with. So the pleasure's all mine for sure.
All right, guys. What a great interview. Thankful to have Chad on here. Thanks for Felix for hooking us up, by the way.
Yeah.
Thanks for Jerry and Nettie both being with us today. And that's been awesome. We've been sort of a broke up crew lately. We're going to have fun in the morning for just a little while. I won't be on very long in the morning because we are in the last few days of got to be out of the house. So we'll talk about some of that tomorrow. So
yeah,
we're gonna bug out. We're all gonna leave at the same time. And great seeing y'all back this morning. I can't wait to get back on a regular basis. And I will see you guys in the morning. Thanks, Chad. And
thanks, everybody. Thank you, guys.
We are going to exit on that note. So we will see y'all in the morning. See y'all.
Bye.
Yeah.